win. Remember those days?
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there as well. Tomorrow is the big day, and we hope everybody's going to have a good day filled with family, friends, and probably yelling and screaming at each other over the turkey when you start talking politics. But you won't hear any of that on this show. At least not right now. I'm Steel Dad. I'm coming to you from a rather unusual location. I am in the great state of Illinois, which I've been told is Algonquin for the great land, according to Alice Cooper. That was actually Milwaukee. Anyway, welcome in, Freak. Welcome in, Big Ben's Burner, and everybody else that's going to jump on tonight. Love having you guys here. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about. I think Miss Ellie Finnerty might be joining us as well. I know she's running a little bit late, but she does want to come on, talk a little bit of Steelers and deliver a little bit of smack talk as well, because her England team is set to take on the United States in the World Cup of Soccer. And hopefully she's had a few drinks and will introduce us to some new swear words. Anyway, Ryan, Ian, and Ben are here. Gentlemen, I hope you are doing well and at least better than the Steelers. In fact, this week's podcast is called the Turkey episode, since we had a bunch of turkeys playing football on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know what, guys, I really don't even know what question to start with, because
I do.
Well, go for it. I mean, there's so many.
It was a very winnable game. Very winnable game.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase did not play. Joe Mixon went out with a concussion. The Steelers played him really well for a half. And then, just to give you a quick synopsis, the Bengals came out and made some adjustments in the second half, and the Steelers did not respond. And they lost as a fucking result. I mean, two first downs between halftime and 4 minutes to go. Out.
Yeah. Ian, you were on location, as they say, in Acrisure Stadium.
I was.
And what was your takeaway?
I mean, it was a cacophony of errors all around. It was,
cacophony of errors. Yeah.
You can't point the finger at any one person and say we lost because of this guy or because of this play. I mean, Pickett made some bad throws. Pickett still isn't coming off his first look. The play calling was garbage once again. We get one first down on a big play and then go hurry up and run a flea flicker. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, our worst
stupid
down and distance. And I feel like I'm a broken record, because I feel like I say this every week. We call the dumbest shit when we have 1st and 10 from the opponent's 40-yard line. It's like we get across midfield and we're like, let's see what dumb fuck play call we can call now. I've been drinking tonight. So
it's good.
There goes our PG rating. But
yeah, it's your fault this time.
We never have one, by the way, Ian, so don't worry about it.
The FCC is listening.
Dan Moore's still a turnstile. Kevin Dotson can't handle a stunt. And beyond that, Ben hit the nail on the head. Like, you can't go 3 and out 4 times to start the second half. Or we got 1 first down. And you get 2 interceptions and you turn them into 6 total points, one of them at the 20-yard line. Like, it's just that, it was a total team failure all around. I guess the only bright spot
was
was
Canada sucks.
I said that, yeah.
And Terrell Austin can't adjust.
Yes.
And
right. It's everything all around.
Fuck.
The only good thing
Waterboy should be fired too.
Was Presley Harvin's punting. He did a really nice job of directional kicking and pinning the guys on the sideline. A couple nice kicks, like out of his own end zone too. So the only bright spot was, the first half was fun and good, but we're kind of joking in the stands, like, oh, I wonder if we used up our quota for touchdowns for the day when we scored 2. And
so you guys fucking jinxed us, is what you're telling us. Thanks.
Actually,
thanks.
Yeah. But no, we scored a third one eventually in garbage time. But It was
Yeah, Scarps. What was your takeaway?
I would say that the one thing the Bengals trusted what they were doing. I think that to me was clear. Even after that pick, late in the first half when it gave the Steelers some life and the Steelers actually went up 20-17 at half. And then even that interception that TJ Watt had, which was a great athletic play, but also to me, that's more cerebral and studying tape and tendencies. He just knew exactly where that was going to be. Regardless, Joe Burrow didn't bat an eye. He knew exactly what he needed to do. They put their guys in the best positions to attack our defense. And as we talked about, on our whatever Slack chain or whatever the hell you want to call it, or tech chain, that they were putting big guys in the slot, especially T. Higgins. And like T. Higgins is just a monster. And like, he's running slot fades, he's running posts. And to me it came. I think that the Steelers got out coached in a couple of different ways during that game. And I don't want to, we know what the offense is. It's always going to be, a couple positives, but mostly shit. But the defense is the highest paid defense in the league, and I'm just done with them acting like they're better than they are. That defense is hot garbage, man. They got 3 really good players, and the rest are just whatever. And it depends on what you get from them each game. Sometimes they bring it together, but more often than not, they don't.
So before we get into, obviously we'll talk Kenny Pickett. Obviously we'll talk the defense. The one question I do want to ask, and Ian, I'll go to you first because I see Ben's got his mouth full there. Did the second half, did it come down to coaching and the lack of adjustments, or was it more about just a complete lack of execution and the overall mistakes that were made by the players? What would you put it on?
Some of both, to be honest with you. No one's absolved from blame here. The one thing I'll say, Cincinnati did a really, really good job all game on second downs. Like, I think they only had 9 third downs the whole game. That it was kind of, they would run a first down play, and then it was kind of like whatever happened, they knew they could pick up a new set of downs on second downs. They weren't even getting to third downs against our defense. And we actually did pretty well. I think they were only 3 for 9 on third downs or something like that.
I believe that's right.
And one of them they converted by penalty, which was a questionable face mask call at that.
Mm-hmm.
So, our defense actually did okay when they got them to third down, but the Bengals did a really good job on second downs the whole game of just, moving the sticks. And they drove 92 yards and 93 yards for touchdowns against us. And I think each of those drives only faced 1 third down the whole drive. So, some of that's coaching, some of that's execution of the plays, some of that's that, the Bengals identified things like, oh, hey, we're going to just take advantage of Arthur Millette playing in the slot and run Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins against them and see if he can stop them.
That's how they turned a lot of those second downs into firsts.
Yeah. Well, I was just okay. So I agree, Ian, that I think it's a combination of lack of adjustments / coaching, poor execution. It was just like you said, nobody can be completely excused from the shit show.
And the players too. I mean, Najee Harris missing a call that was supposed to be a draw play and him running up the gut blocking and Pickett having to improvise, and just Pat Freiermuth running backwards after he catches the ball instead of forwards. It's
second week in a row. Some players done that.
Yeah. Well,
he's studying that Deontay Johnson tape.
He is, and he ain't nowhere as quick. And you'd think he'd learn because Deontay doesn't even get away with it every time either.
Melvin had a great point in the chat too. We keep friggin' running the ball on second and long, which I don't understand. The Bengals got into second and long, and they're like, all right, we're going to throw and try and pick this up here on second and long. Whereas, we're like, oh, we had an unsuccessful first down play. Let's run it on second down. And so we're in third and long.
Ben, were the Bengals bringing more guys in the second half to shut down the run more specifically? It felt I
didn't see more run blitzing. I saw Najee getting spied a little bit. Which made sense, especially on rundowns. So you just run a linebacker right at him. Didn't necessarily see run blitzes. Saw better execution, more stunts against the left side of our line because they suck at picking them up. Saw Dan Moore getting trucked over and over and over again. That guy cannot pick up a bull rush to save his life.
No,
it's like
there's just no strength.
Why even bother trying to do anything else? If you know he can't do that, just do it every time. Fuck it.
Yeah. You don't need to have a plethora of moves. You just bull rush them.
It's like what we talked about this week on Slack, in the Mean Girl chat. We looked at the new Vince Williams covering a wide receiver is now Arthur Millette. And, obviously the Bengals, that was the key adjustment they made in the second half. And that's how they converted. They converted so many seconds and turned them into firsts. Was they're out there on a rundown. They get Arthur Millette in the slot, although you couldn't really move him out anyway because he didn't have enough corners to bring Sutton inside. But you got Arthur Millette. You take a big strong wide receiver in T. Higgins and have him run in the slot. Really easy to pick up 9-10 yards. Boom, 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 boom down the field. Simple.
Well,
and until Austin can counter that, the other offensive coordinators are going to do it too. It's going to be a rerun of what we've seen in past years. And if they keep trying to run this zone behind a pressure front that isn't necessarily getting home, it's not. But the results are the same. I don't think I disagree with Scarpson so much as I don't think this defense is hot garbage. I do think it's poorly coached. I said it.
Okay.
Is it lukewarm garbage?
I think that Miles Jack and Larry Ogunjobi and Terrell Edmonds and Alex Highsmith are players. I don't think there's a lot of talent in the defensive backfield aside from Edmonds and I like Deontay KZ too.
DeMonte
KZ, yeah. I like him. He's a nice player. I think our corners suck. Just being frank.
So
our corners are not good.
Well, Scarps, you talked about T. Higgins last week, and to your point and to your credit.
Yeah, remember when Ben said that he's not that much better than Deontay Johnson or whoever?
I said I don't know that he is better than Deontay Johnson, and I don't know that he's more talented.
Oh my God!
Who was he going against?
Glasses,
Who was he going against?
Gives a shit.
A guy who's 5'8".
He was going against everybody.
What Steelers corner is going to stop him? Please tell me that.
I don't know of any corner we have right now that could do it. To be perfectly honest,
none.
That's not necessarily a reflection on him. It's a reflection on our shitty corners. Our corners are terrible.
And I think with Deontay Johnson, the reflection is on the quarterback and the play calling. So
Deontay Johnson, it's also the fact that he is frustrated and trying to do too much instead of just going out there and doing his fucking job. That's frustrating too, as a fan.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to get back to the point, but let me ask you one question, a real quick question. Would you rather have T. Higgins as a Steelers wide receiver right now, or any of our other wide receiver options?
I'd rather have a quarterback who can throw with anticipation like Joe Burrow. That's what I'd rather have. Our quarterback fucking sucks. That is the problem. Watching that game back again, that is the biggest problem on the offense right now.
Okay. All right. We're never going
to. You're asking me about wide receiver talent? Do I think that Deontay Johnson is more talented than T. Higgins? Yes, I do.
I would say no. God,
are you smoking crack?
Hey,
I agree with Ryan here.
Yeah, let's keep the show to marijuana only. No crack.
All right. Yeah. So you're not smoking crack about the coaching, about the defense, because I was getting PTSD going back to the Chargers game at Heinz Field in 2018 when Vince Williams kept guarding Keenan Allen.
Yes.
And Phillip Rivers was like, "Well, hell, you gonna keep doing this? I'm gonna keep doing that.
I'm just gonna keep throwing."
So yes, I do agree that. Okay, I still think our defense is hot garbage, but I do think it could be better with more discipline and more coaching.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand how you let that happen continuously.
Well,
I still think T. Higgins is a number one wide receiver on any other team in this league, but the fact that Jamar Chase is on that team, he's the number two.
So
yeah, 99% of wide receivers in this league would be number two wide receivers behind Jamar Chase. So there's no shame in that.
But
Jamar Chase is awesome.
let me throw this in there. Scarps just talked about, better coaching. I think we've all probably said it. Let's look at the defensive coaching staff for a second here. Not only do you have Mike Tomlin, but you've got Brian Flores involved, and you've got Terrell Austin involved.
Terrell Austin, Brian Flores, yep.
Carl Dunbar is not a newborn at coaching,
right?
So what the hell is it? Because those are 4 pretty good defensive coaches. So what's going on here?
From my perspective, I just don't like the defensive play calling primarily. Yes, if you change things up and you try to run man, your outside corners are going to be more exposed, which, yeah, that makes things more difficult for those guys. And they're not good. They're not. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
By the same token, they're not throwing the ball outside, man.
Wow.
They're not throwing the ball to the outside. They're throwing it over the middle. And we're not reacting. We're trying to play tackle the catch and try and run a pressure front, and the pressure's not necessarily getting home.
Right, which kills the idea.
Yeah, we're not every play is a 4-man rush. We never vary from that. And that's what got Austin basically run out of Cincinnati was that everything he did was a 4-man rush. And if there's 4 guys coming, maybe there are 4 guys all coming from one side, but you just shift the protection over. And once offensive coordinators started to figure that out, that it's like he's never bringing more than 4 guys, regardless of where they're coming from. It's always just 4 guys that are coming. And if you have 5 linemen and only have to block 4, yeah, maybe you double TJ Watt, or maybe you chip TJ Watt and double Cam Hayward or whatever it is. But the pressure's not getting there, and the scheme behind it is getting exposed. And yeah, we don't have corners that are sticky enough. I'll put it that way. That like you watch other teams. I'll pick the Ravens, for example, that yes, I know they went out and spent a bunch of first-round draft picks on cornerbacks over time, but their corners always play so tight on receivers that they're getting their hands in there. They're knocking passes away. Like how the crap did whatever the fuck that little wide receiver's name was catch that touchdown pass over Arthur Millette? He was right there. Like reach your hand in and knock the ball away. You're allowed to touch the football.
Last week he would have. And yeah, that was my exact same thought. It's like, this is a guy who last week put his hand between the wide receiver and the ball and made a play, knocked some other balls away. And this week he allows a touchdown on that shit. And that guy was his size. No, I agree with you. That was awful.
Yeah. And maybe the full vision of the defense, whether it was Akilla Weatherspoon or now William Jackson or whatever that is, you can move Cam Sutton to the inside on nickel or dime situations.
They traded for a hurt corner.
Yeah, but still, like, you got to have something, and you got to be able to do something differently. Like, if you see the Bengals are starting to move their guys into the slot, I don't know, maybe give Trey Norwood a few more snaps. He can actually cover guys in the slot. Just try something different. Yeah, I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
So if we say, and I'm just reading a lot of the stuff that the listeners are commenting, and it's clear many of them look at a talent or lack thereof of talent, and so, okay, what's the one spot right now on that defense you say we need an immediate upgrade right now? It's got to be this spot right now. Scarps, what would you say it is?
They do need an inside.
It's supposed to be a rapid fire moment.
Sorry, they need a lockdown corner. They need a Sauce Gardner type.
Okay, Ben.
Well, we might be drafting up high enough to get one of those this year. The way this fucking season is going.
Is that where you go, though?
They need 2 corners, in my opinion. They need to upgrade Arthur Millette. Okay, sorry. And they need an outside corner who is a true lockdown corner. It doesn't necessarily need to be the best corner in the league, but he needs to be a good fucking corner.
Okay. Ian?
Inside linebacker. That they need some, just because of how they move guys around and how good tight ends and running backs are at receiving these days. Like, when Well, I was gonna say when Joe Mixon was in the game, they were splitting Mixon out wide and having him basically run in cutting routes because they knew that Miles Jack or whoever was covering him couldn't handle that. And then
And Spillane got a whole bunch of snaps this week anyway,
Yeah.
which
And
I
then
don't.
when they got to the
yeah.
hold on. And then when they got to the red zone, they were like, "Oh, guess what we saw on film? If we take our 2 outside receivers and run them in and run the running back out behind them, the Steelers can't cover that." And they scored 3 touchdowns that way, or 2 touchdowns at least. But one of them, Spillane just got run over, which was embarrassing for the guy who's supposed to be a pretty good tackler. And then but yeah, it's like, okay, we'll just run some Samaje Perine, behind these 2 in-cutting routes, and
that was
they won't be able to cover them. So it was. They need. I would go inside linebacker first because that's a position that if you have that kind of guy there, and I know that your Luke Kuechly's, your Bobby Wagner's are tough to find, and we traded up to try and get a guy that we thought was like that in Devin Bush, and he hasn't been. Although Bush has played probably more aggressive in the last 2 games than he's played in 2 years, but nevertheless, Bush isn't it. So I would go inside linebacker.
You know what, Ian? I'm going to agree with you.
Ryan's drinking beer.
He's not drinking like.
What are you drinking? Is that Coke?
No, Canadian Club and ginger.
Oh, good for you.
The
We'll get to that
one.
question here momentarily.
Sorry.
Trey Norwood got 0 snaps on defense this week.
Well, and Ian, I'm going to go to something that you wrote a while ago about the Steelers' inability to draft cornerbacks, and then you expanded upon it and you talked about the fact that league-wide, as teams, you're better off signing free agent corners than you really are drafting them.
That's correct.
So that's why I'm with you when I say get me an inside backer, or even if you've got some big stud D lineman in there, I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to that either. But
They're
definitely
going to need one.
I know.
And honestly, I would prioritize D line and corner over linebacker, even on this defense as it's currently comprised. Because
if that kid from
there
Georgia
are free
there,
agents that are out there that you can grab. And yeah, obviously, if you're picking the top 10, you throw out your needs. You pick the player that's going to have the greatest impact on the field. Okay,
true.
You go with that, even if it's a quarterback. Oh my God, I said it. Even if it's a quarterback, if by some fluke of nature, some Ben Roethlisberger.
Noah's right.
What did he say?
When we see Spillane on the field, they're going to give up 15 yards. Yeah, that's correct.
No, he is right. He is right, man. Especially on third down. It bugs the shit out of me. It's like, why is this guy playing on first down and second down instead of on third? What the fuck? Yeah. Anyway, back to the point, setting my frustration aside. You take the player who's going to have the greatest impact. If Ben Roethlisberger is in this next draft and he's there at 10 and you're drafting at 10, you fucking take him. You don't go, well, we already have Kenny Pickett. We can't, we got to. No, you take the player who's going to give you the greatest impact for your pick. Do I think the Steelers will do that next year? No, I don't. But no, I think that they should.
I would.
I'm on the record on this show and on Twitter, so that's mostly on the record of saying that our first 3 picks next year should be offensive tackle, defensive lineman, and center. So I'm sticking with that.
It kind of depends on how it falls. I mean, obviously, you're not saying necessarily in that order. You're just saying the first 3 picks should be in the trenches is what you'd like to see.
Yeah,
but
2 on the offensive line. And
we got 2 seconds next year.
That's what I mean, right? But I wouldn't use a top 10 pick on a center. But I'm saying one of those second round picks should be a center.
I mean,
the way things are shaking right now.
Mike Webster, Marquise Pouncey comes out there.
3 picks in the top 39, I think.
Well,
as it is right now.
Tomlin's going to find a way to win some games and really piss people off. So let's not count our chickens just yet.
You know what? We keep saying that.
Yeah. And then they lay an egg. And then they lay a fucking egg like they did on Sunday.
Yeah,
that game was so winnable. God, it was so frustrating.
Yeah. God. And I don't think people understand. But it's funny because the Saints come back home last week and just whoop on the defending Super Bowl champions. Like like there are just certain signs when a team ain't going to show up. So that Saints game to me was just whatever. At this point, and I just want to make a final remark about a number one corner.
Yeah.
at this point, I'd settle for an Ike Taylor type. You know what I mean? Like just somebody that always shadows
Ike
that
was
number.
solid.
Yeah, but but he was a 4th round pick. But my point
Ike
is,
never got the big money because he couldn't get the picks.
I
But
understand that.
He was a great corner. He was a good corner defender.
Okay, what I'm saying is that if they don't go corner in the 1st round, find me an Ike Taylor type.
Yeah.
In the later round, it's going to give you
a Wesley Snipes type.
I mean, that's going to give you
Wesley, but Wesley Snipes type.
Fucking 10 years of service, and literally the only knock on Ike was that he'd be in the Hall of Fame if he could catch the ball.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Big Ben Burner had a good point in the chat here
about the chat at all.
It was,
okay,
I mean, yeah, like honestly, that's kind of how it was in the stands too. That like there was just
laughing.
We weren't laughing. It was comically bad. It was
right.
Like
you don't know what else to do
when you watch The Office. It's a lot of cringe humor, right? And
Ben's
people love
I'm drinking tequila.
Yeah. And it was a lot of cringe humor in the second half. It's like, oh fuck, we're so bad. How are we this fucking bad? So
speaking of
humor,
speaking of bad, what Scarps? What are you drinking tonight?
It's Canadian Club.
Canadian
That's
Club.
Not bad.
That's fine. It's fine.
I upgraded, and then just for the record, because Ben put peer pressure, I got the triple platinum or whatever the fuck he told me to get. Right? It's upstairs. It's gonna be tomorrow's main course.
I'm just telling you, you will not get a hangover from that shit either.
I don't get a hangover anyway, so
vodka turkey vodka for Scarps.
I've always been blessed.
Ben, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Don Julio 70 because I like to drink my good tequila.
Apparently,
and I'm drinking Jubal.
Their Jubal Ale, very good. And Ian, what do you got?
I am drinking this Cooper's Craft.
Oh yeah,
that I bought at the liquor store today.
What do you think?
It's not bad. It's a little burny going down, you know, not as smooth as the Bradshaw bourbon, but it has a nice flavor to it. They age it in both beech and birch casks, so it has a nice has a nice kind of woody flavor to it. It's pretty good.
Well, so
the thing about the Bradshaw
tough
is when
crowd in the chat tonight for Scarps.
Very tough crowd. Everybody's in a
the
pissy
wrong
mood.
Shit. I got a bad shirt on. Oh my god! What the
I
hell?
like your shirt. That's cool.
I like your shirt too. What the fuck's wrong with your shirt?
What's happening is
Listen,
everybody has to be
coming.
around family tomorrow, and they're getting their shots in.
I see. Yeah, they're getting warmed up. I get it. I'm going to be there too, so I understand.
This is the truest thing ever stated, right there.
Screaming children. Now, listen, Bradshaw bourbon, when you're sipping it, is delicious and smooth and easy until it gets about to your diaphragm. Then all of a sudden it starts to really get warm, like warm.
That's when you feel it.
You're like, whoa, wait a minute. That's that same thing I just swallowed. I didn't feel it at all in my mouth. How is that? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
What are we talking about here? Okay.
We're talking about the Bradshaw bourbon.
I zoned out for a second. I just heard weird things coming from
there. It is.
I gotta try that. I've never had that.
I'm drinking.
It's delicious,
Chris. I'm just busting your stones, Chris, in our chat.
That's what we do here.
I dig it.
Bust.
It's the lumberjack look. You know what? It's okay to break his balls, Chris. We appreciate
what we're here
that.
for.
I'm growing the beard.
Oh, Melvin.
Melvin's going hard. I like
Makers 46 and Stella Artois.
Makers 46.
Look at this guy,
Stella, man.
I guarantee you, he's got about a $30 cigar in his other hand.
Step up my game.
Jeez, oh man. You know, while we have a pause in the Steelers talk, let me real quickly remind everybody we are part of the Pigskin Podcast Network, and that means we are tied in with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code TPPN. Place a $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TPPN. All right.
Yeah, who was earlier talking about Hayden when we first got him? Do you think the Browns have a corner who's really good that they'll cut early because they're stupid?
They do have a corner who's really good.
Yeah.
That's a Ward, but I don't know if they'll cut him.
Do you think they'll?
Brady Williams?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because they do dumb shit. Well, cap casualty because next year Watson's gap hit goes way the fuck up. Wait, I have not looked at their cap situation, so I'm completely speculating here.
Right.
You'd be clear about that.
Yeah.
But
Let's dive into
They're
Kenny.
notoriously cheap.
Oh, for sure. Like the Bengals. Kenny Pickett. Good first half. Horrible second half.
Doesn't have any.
I don't even know where to go with that.
It's fucking frustrating.
It's been very frustrating. Ian, you were up close and saw what was happening there on Sunday. I mean, where is this young man from that game he came in against the Jets to now?
That's a good question. I mean, some things he's better, some things he's not. I think the game against the Jets, we were losing when he came in. He played like he had nothing to lose in that game. Now he's playing more conservative. And I think the game is going really fast for him, and he's still thinking about it, that he's not like processing and reacting, right?
Yeah,
that it's not instinctive yet, but that instinctive nature only comes with time, right? Defensive coordinators have thrown some different looks at him. He doesn't really know how to shift the protection yet, and he's gotten destroyed a few times because he's not like, hey, they're blitzing from over here. Let's move some blockers over here, guys.
And the wide receivers don't recognize it either.
No, and yeah, it's a mess. So yeah. I absolutely agree with Big Ben's burner that he's absolutely staring down his first receiver and isn't coming off of it. And I think the game's just moving too fast for him right now that it hasn't slowed down.
Did you see Steelers Freaks comment?
I had to put that on. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Some of that will come with time, but I like you said at the outset of the show, football is not a patient man's game. We want everything to happen right now. And I mean, I was talking to the dude next to me, Vince, who he's been sitting next to me for years.
Met him.
He's a good dude. But he was saying wow, not only how spoiled were we with Ben's rookie year that he came in and was pretty damn good, but Ben's whole career, even Ben last year did things that we didn't even realize how good he was in the moment until now.
Exactly.
And
the guy could barely fucking jog, and he still did that last year.
Yeah, we've been spoiled, and this is what pretty much the whole rest of the league has to deal with on a semi-regular basis when they try and figure out if a rookie quarterback is good or not. The one thing I will say too, because you asked at the outset what the problems are. Ben's rookie year, he threw 22 passes a game. Asking your rookie quarterback to throw the ball 45 times a game is insane.
Yeah, agreed.
So Ian, drop that stat, please.
Oh yeah, I will. The Steelers are 3-1 this year in games where they attempt 30 or fewer passes in regulation. In games where they've attempted 31 or more passes in regulation, they are 0-6. So yeah, and that is I did add up the passes.
And the one loss, how many points did they lose by?
Oh gosh, I don't have it right. It was 2. Okay. I think.
I was gonna say I thought it was a 2-point loss.
I think it was 2. Yeah. I think it was the Jets game, right? That Pickett came in, because I think Mitch had 18 and Pickett had 12 in that game.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So yeah, because I had to add the ones for the games with 2 quarterbacks, but it was the Jets game. Cincinnati,
it's been bad, man.
Cincinnati, they had 38 pass attempts, but 12 were in overtime, so only 26 in regulation. The Jets was 26 in regulation. Tampa was 30 in regulation, and then New Orleans was 30. So, the games we've attempted 30 or fewer in regulation, we've won, or we're 3-1 in. And then when we try 42 passes like we did this week, we're 0-6. So there's that.
Yeah. And I'm also going to assume in those games that we threw the ball 30 or less, we probably ran the ball a little bit better than we do in the other ones too. I mean,
Tampa, we ran it well. New Orleans, we ran it well.
It's not a difficult equation. It's just executing it. Starts.
They didn't run the ball poorly this week. I didn't think.
No, first half was great.
Yeah. They needed to stick with it. and it seemed like they got scared. And yeah, as Ian has pointed out, in plus territory, they constantly call the stupidest fucking shit imaginable.
How much of that was Mason Cole going down, Ben?
I mean, that's a piece of it, no question, because Hassenauer, God bless him, he's not as good. He's not a great center. He's a backup. He's a solid backup. I'm not bitching at all.
Yep.
But he's not great. So that's a piece of it, but some of it's just not fucking sticking to it. Not just not sticking to the run game.
Mm-hmm.
Just not making a commitment to it and going, okay, we're going to take some pressure off our rookie quarterback because he can't win the fucking game for us.
No.
Because he can't. Okay. No. He can't. The whole and most NFL ready quarterback in this class, that's a reflection on the class, not on the player and how ready he is to be a fucking NFL quarterback. All right.
That's a very valid point.
Brandon Whedon was the most NFL ready quarterback in his class too. What happened to him?
Well, I think he's in a retirement home now, isn't he?
Yeah, I am pretty sure.
He's about a year away from Social Security.
Collecting.
He was a year away from Social Security when he got drafted.
He was 29 when they drafted him, and he was a 29-year-old first-round pick for the Browns.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
And yet somehow was not the worst pick that the Browns made at 22nd overall in the draft.
That's actually a good point. Johnny Fuckstain.
You're right.
Yeah. Scarbs, what I mean, you're hard on Kenny Pickett, man. You are.
You're just a hater. You're just a hater, Scarps.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you got to see? What's going to make? What's going to
that I reach?
What's going to make you
put a stat up there?
What's going to make you say something nice about Kenny Pickett? What do you need to see?
He's not terrible. He's not great. He's whatever right now. But I think here's what Pickett fans are doing now to seek comfort. They keep talking about Ben and how Ben didn't throw that many times during his rookie year and Ben had a better team. Well, okay, first of all, Ben came to a team that was 6-10 the year before.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even supposed to play.
Right.
And yeah, it took him some time, but the dude had an immediate impact. The dude had 5 game-winning drives his rookie year. He never lost a game. And he was the unanimous NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year that year. Do you know how many players got a vote for defense that year?
No.
No idea.
8.
No.
8.
Wow.
Do you know what Ben's and he threw a lot less, but do you know what his interception rate was? Interception percentage?
No.
Per pass attempt? 3.7. Do you know what Kenny Pickett's interception rate is right now? 3.4.
Oh.
So Ben actually threw more picks. You know why? Because he fucking didn't give a shit. Like, that's what I want to see. I want to, and Kenny gets on. Whoever's giving him talking points, Steelers PR is doing a good job. Because Kenny gets up and he's like, "Oh, I'm comfortable. I'm just gonna sling it." Bullshit. He ain't slinging shit. He ain't doing that. He's not. Ben went out there to win. The dude threw 11 interceptions his rookie year and was still the only offensive rookie to get a fucking vote. Okay. So again, that's what my concern is because I don't see anything from Pickett that excites me that much like I did a young Ben Roethlisberger. And you know what?
Yeah.
Let's just say Ben Roethlisberger had an amazing rookie year and he just shit the bed the rest of his career. I will forever remember that 2004 season for the rest of my life.
It was good.
And you know what I remember about this season with Kenny Pickett? Jack fucking squat.
Yeah.
So Ryan,
I don't disagree with you.
For you.
Fine.
I have a question for you, Ryan.
That's not true about my last sentence. I think Pickett's done some nice things. I'm just playing it up.
Yeah, but so how much of Pickett's tentativeness or lack of go for itness, whatever you want to call it, do you think is him, and how much is coaching? Like, because every time
I
you
think
hear
Melvin just asked about that.
Yeah,
you
I
hear
think it's- I think
Canada,
no.
you hear
Yeah.
Tomlin, and you hear Pickett all saying like,
All
we
the
got to
time.
take care of the ball, we
Ball
can't throw
security.
interceptions,
Ball
all that
security.
stuff. So
Here's
To
my-
my point last week, he
Go
should be coached for fucking ball security.
So I would say that if he is limited, I think it's a combination of both. But if he is limited, then shame on the Steelers for even going to him. They could have rode this fucking year out with Mitch Trubisky and
Oh,
I lost
Scarps.
Scarps.
Scarps loses inventory.
That's a great freeze of Scarps.
That
All
is a
right,
great
then.
freeze.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think what Scarps is trying to say was they could have ridden the year out and not drafted Pickett, but they did.
I don't know if
and
I was off.
There he is.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
sorry.
back.
You
We
froze
lost
for
you
a
for about
second.
15
All right, sorry, but
seconds.
they fucking
You said they
panicked.
could have rid the year out.
They could have rid the year out with Pitt. They could have given Pickett a red shirt year. He
Right,
would have been
right.
a 30th year freshman, but and they could have rode the year out with Trubisky and Rudolph, but they fucking panicked. They panicked and put him in that second half in the Jets game, and like we talked about, the toothpaste is out of the tube.
Yep.
And
It
you know
is.
what? No matter how much guts he has and how much moxie he has, or how much, the stones, whatever you want to call
Whatever.
it, he hasn't shown me anything.
Okay, here's what it comes down to for me. As far as like pulling Pickett at this point, there's no fucking reason to do it. Okay,
I agree. I don't want him pulling.
Pulling Pickett is not going to make the offense better. There are a lot of problems with this offense and this team in general, and the quarterback isn't even the biggest one, but he's one of them. But he's not the only one. And sorry, and him sitting down does him no good whatsoever.
I agree.
At this point, he needs to play through it. He needs to get the experience. They need to see what he can do, how he's going to respond to things, how he can play through adversity, and just play the year out. I know it sucks, and I am as frustrated as all of you are, but I do not advocate going back to fucking Mitch or, God forbid, putting in Mason.
No,
I was singing before.
yeah.
I was singing before about anticipation. I was, a little playoff Scarps later on with Casey, and really the biggest difference watching that game over and over and over again is Joe Burrow is throwing before his wide receivers are open. He's anticipating them being open. He's throwing to a spot, and they're getting there.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a dance between wide receivers and quarterbacks. They know each other. They know where the ball's going to be. They go to that spot. Boom. Oh, Joe's going to throw it a little bit this way this time because these DBs are here and here. So they go to that spot instead. And the Steelers are not there. It just isn't even, not even fucking close.
Yep, I agree.
You're watching that. The wide receivers are not on the same page with the quarterback. The wide receivers don't believe in what they're being asked to run. They give up on fucking routes. They quit on plays.
How
It's
many times
fucking
did
frustrating.
Deontay Johnson give up? There were plays where
Lots.
there was one
Lots.
where
He's
Pickett rolled
obviously
out.
super frustrated.
There was
There-
one where
there's
Pickett
no-
rolled out and he wasn't even looking back towards the
There's
ball. and-
no scramble drill at all. Last year, no wide receiver would have done that. They all would run
Right.
around trying to get open. If Ben broke a play down, they all would run around trying to get open, and Ben would be like, "I'm gonna hit you. I need you to try and get open. Just keep doing it."
And don't you think, and Ian, I just want to say this. Don't you think Ben, at some point during practice or during the game or whenever, and I know he's done this because I've fucking been there and I've heard it, was like, listen, pretty much when the shit hits the fan, I need you to do this. And like,
Right.
I don't know if Pickett is either comfortable enough to say that or that he's not allowed to say it. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If he's not comfortable or not allowed, they got a big fucking problem.
Right. No, he's
Like,
a
that is
starting
a
fucking quarterback.
huge
Hey.
issue.
He should
Oh.
be talking about it for sure. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But
Ian,
back to the point real quickly, because I want to answer the question that you gave to Scarps. What do I want to see Kenny Pickett do before I'll give him some credit? There was one play where he threw a touchdown pass to George Pickens, where he was about to get his clock cleaned. They rushed 6. He was about to get killed, and he had to throw the ball to a spot. He had to make a decision right now. He had to do it. It was either throw the ball here and maybe throw a pick or maybe get a touchdown. And he threw the ball to Pickens and it was a touchdown because he threw it with anticipation. But he doesn't have the guts to do that. Sorry. Doesn't have the trigger to do that on most plays. He's trying to hold it back in and not fuck up. And I agree in so much as he should be coached, given how many interceptions he's thrown, to not turn the fucking ball over. But at some point, you just got to go, fuck it. Just go out there.
Yeah.
Just do it. Deliver the fucking ball. Just do it. And when he did in that situation, and he did get hit, he took a smack from the linebacker.
Yes, he did. Yep.
And he still got a touchdown pass out of it. So worth it, right?
Yeah. There was another play he took a smack and made a pass too. That
I see more of that, and I'm gonna be happy. That's
Ian.
This is actually something I wanted to talk about tonight. And Chris brought it up in the chat, so I do want to mention it about yards after the catch. That the Steelers, they're not dead last in the league in pure yards after the catch total.
Really?
They're not, shockingly. But
29th?
We're pretty low. But in pure yak yards, we're not dead last. What we are dead last in is yards after catch per completion. So
okay.
So like pure yards after the
but
catch.
yards per
yak per completion.
Yak per completion we are, which that I believe.
Yeah.
Because we run so many goddamn comebacks and curl routes and more stupid shit that our offensive coordinator calls.
Yeah. Kenny Pickett, because Mitch Trubisky doesn't have enough games, passing attempts, whatever, to qualify for the stat. But Kenny Pickett is averaging 4 yards after the catch per completion. The next closest is Kirk Cousins at 4.4. So like he's 0.4 of a yard. Like that's pretty significantly
Kirk
below.
Cousins only has 4.
That's surprising. I would never have guessed that.
Shit out of me.
Yeah.
With Jefferson catching the ball out there.
Yeah. Well, and when like
wow.
Yeah. But think about it too, right? Like how many times does Kirk Cousins throw the ball to Justin Jefferson in the end zone? There's no yak yards on those plays.
That's true. You're right.
Like Jimmy Garoppolo is leading the league at like 7.2 yak yards per completion.
Shanahan runs a good offense. He does.
He does.
Well, he runs an offense that gets the ball to his players in space and lets the receivers make plays with the balls in their hands. Right. So
he schemes them open. Imagine that shit.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Pickett is dead last in yards after the catch. So to me, that tells me 3 things. 1, the offensive coordinator or offensive design overall is not designed for guys to make plays with balls in their hands, which we've been talking about all year, that you got to run an offense that plays to your players' strengths. You got to let your playmakers make plays with the ball. 2, that means that Kenny Pickett is not putting the ball in good places where his receivers can make plays with the ball after the catch. Or 3, Pickett's not throwing to guys who are, able to, he's not throwing to the crossing route coming across the middle of the field, right? Ben threw to those shallow crossers all the time last year and got a ton of yak yards. Pickett's not throwing to those shallow crossers. The guy's running, he's throwing to guys that are stopped, basically.
Yeah. Or coming back at him.
Or number 4, fourth one I got to add, maybe our receivers aren't good enough with the ball in their hands or smart enough, Deontay, to like go forward with the ball when they have it. So those 4 things are kind of what that statistic all tells me. Thank you for giving me time on the soapbox to talk about that.
I don't know that the issue is players smart enough. Yes, they try to do too much. They're trying to make a play every time they touch the fucking ball because the offense sucks and they need to generate some kind of fucking momentum, some kind of energy to move forward, right? That's why when guys make a little tiny play on offense, they get up and celebrate. And I'm like, motherfucker, you're down by 14. Knock it off. I would get back to the fucking huddle.
Great comment, Melvin. Water's wet, yes.
Yeah, water is in fact wet.
I'd also say, based on what Jermaine Pratt said last week, I would say that the defense is like they're also not getting yak yards because the defense is in position to make a tackle.
Yeah.
That they're like, you know what? I'll give up 6 yards on 3rd and 9 because I know
Right.
I'm going to make this tackle.
Right.
You know,
What
I
the
mean,
hell's
like,
the difference? No, you're dead on.
but
You
I
are
would also
dead
say
right.
too, I laugh at this, and I know he's probably the fastest player in the league, but Tyreek Hill has 350 yak yards this year. The Steelers as a team have 880. So Tyreek Hill has 40% of the Steelers' yak yards as an individual, and I'm just
Yeah.
like between him and Waddle, they got like 80%, and it's just like again,
That's
like I know
not
we
good.
don't have, but like I you don't like, and I know I was critical of him earlier, comparing him to T. Higgins, but like, you mean to tell me Deontay Johnson can't take a fucking slant to the house? Like,
Yeah, no, he
you
could.
gotta
They
be
don't fucking
crazy.
throw it to him.
You know, like look at there were a couple games last year where late in the game they needed a I remember Cleveland, for example, at Cleveland.
You're exactly
Ben
right.
fucking threw a fucking slant right in the middle of the field, and that dude almost scored. Like, so don't tell me that. This is the biggest difference between last year and this year, and this is the truth, is that Ben is not the quarterback anymore.
Yeah, I agree, and I my opinion is they haven't found the fine line between ball security, and Kenny, be the aggressive guy we drafted out of college. They haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Again, I'm going to come back to this. The aggressive guy he was in college was playing against fucking ACC players.
Understood. Yep, I
There
realize
were
it's
these
a different level.
gigantic fucking windows to throw into.
Yep.
You didn't have to. You could wait until a receiver was open and then throw him the ball, or about to be open. You know, oh, he's gonna be open in a second anyway. Fuck it, man. In the NFL, that ain't the way it is. You got to trust your receiver. You have to trust him to get there and make the play.
So why is he struggling to come off that first read? What do we boil that down to?
Damn, good question.
Oh, that's a really good question. I think it's back to the speed of the game thing. I think the game is, and this is something you see with rookies often. I mean, and not just at quarterback, at any position, that, you know, second-year players talk a lot about how the game starts to slow down for them, and the speed of the NFL is just so much damn faster than the speed at college, and the speed of the game. I think that's what I attribute it to, and I think for Pickett right now, the game is flying for him, and he needs it to slow down. And the only way, and unfortunately, the only way to get it to slow down for him is to give him more time and more experience seeing it and being out there and being a part of it and just getting him the reps. Like like Ben said earlier, you don't get any benefit from benching him and making him sit there and watch someone else do it. Like, the only way to get the game to slow down for him is to give him the reps and give him the experience and let him play through it.
Yeah, I agree.
Unfortunately, yes, I agree.
Yeah. I just, you got to keep him in there. I mean, if he's your guy this long, he's going to be your guy for the rest of the year. It makes you're not going to the playoffs. I mean, I just don't understand why they would even think of pulling him at this point. I mean,
playoffs.
Playoffs.
No, but I mean, honestly, what would happen if they went to the fucking playoffs?
Well, I mean, look, it'd be great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if we all of a sudden, you know, win 6 out of the last 7 or something like that, then yeah, awesome. I mean, who wouldn't love it? But the reality is that ain't happening.
That's not great at all.
There's still people on Steelers Facebook who are talking about 10-7 as a possibility. I'm like, you're fucking serious? Yeah, 10-7 or 9-8. Really? Yeah, this team's gonna go 10. That's a realistic possibility.
Have you watched another game?
Have you watched any of the fucking games at all?
Yeah.
I think they'll win some more games. I
think we will.
And I think when they win some games, people will be super angry about loss of draft position because we're not making the playoffs. And as far as the Steelers fans are concerned, if you're not making the playoffs, you should draft number 1 overall. So you should just tank the entire fucking season because why try and win games if you're not going to go to the playoffs anyway?
You know, I feel like Steelers Nation, Steelers Twitter Nation is forgetting that we often shit the bed against inferior opponents, and all these people are like, "Oh, that Carolina, that's a win. Atlanta, that's a win."
No,
and I'm just picturing fucking Marcus Mariota right now having a 60-yard touchdown on a free play or some scramble,
a 60-yard touchdown on a quarterback draw.
Yeah, and it's just like, so, yeah, you know, again, this team is just not good overall.
No, and it's okay to say it because it's true.
And it's
you're just a hater.
Like, no, well, you are a hater, but
it's me.
Nobody escapes blame, honestly. Like, literally no one on that team. The fucking water boy, the guys who do the fucking laundry, everybody should be scrutinized.
And you know what? And I'm going to say this because it pissed me off. It did piss me off. Is that Pickett's best throw of the night, and I know it was in garbage time, was to Pickens on the sideline, and Pickens dropped it.
Yeah, it was a great throw.
And then he fucking, on an onside kick attempt, he fucking spears Tyler Boyd for absolutely zero reason.
No reason. Yeah, what the fuck was that shit?
And, like, listen, like everybody is watching you. You are probably our brightest offensive player for the near future. But you know what? All the shit people said about you coming out of the draft and maturity issues and and everything's on tape. It's out there forever. We saw your fight. We saw you spraying water on people. That's not a good look. So I hope internally he got a nice talking to, because he needed to hear that, especially in that moment.
Yeah. I mean,
it looked like some bullshit, perfect Bengals bullshit.
Yeah.
That was dead on for years.
Yes.
Some bullshit, perfect Pac-Man Bengals fucking bullshit that never should have happened because you were pouting about losing.
And also, I mean, I know Tyler, like, Pickens wasn't even there when Tyler Boyd said that the Steelers quit, but the Bengals are 4-1 against the Steelers in their last 5, and it could be 5-0 if they had a long snapper. And one of those losses was to Ryan fucking Finley. So there's a difference between history, which we all know they have 6 Super Bowls. The Steelers have 6 Super Bowls, and the Bengals don't have any. But then there's the Bengals have just as many playoff wins last postseason as the Steelers do since 2010 vibe going on. So
that's right.
What's fair is fair.
As George just said, the more you drink, the easier it is to say things are not good.
The Steelers regularly whooped up on the Bengals for a couple of fucking decades. So we still have that.
Touché.
I mean, you know, there are Bengals players who hate the fucking Steelers because they played them 23 times and won 3 times.
We got to stop living in the past, man.
I'm just saying.
I know. I get it.
The here and the now is what matters. I agree with you. But I talk about the history because it's about why Bengals fans and Bengals players fucking hate the Steelers. Because the Steelers regularly kick the living shit out of the Bengals, especially in Cincinnati for some reason. God only knows fucking why. That was an extra home game most years. I don't understand it. I don't.
Well, it's funny you say that because, Whitney, who helps run the whole Renegade Tailgate every week, the last conversation I had with him at the Jets game earlier this season, he was talking about Bengals fans, and he said, I will never go back to Cincinnati. He said the way we were treated, I mean, some of the urinating on people. I mean, just, just unbelievable, awful stuff. And I understand. I'm not naive. I understand that a lot of times that's a select group of people, much less than the greater of the part and everything else. But I mean, this is a guy that goes to every game. I mean, he goes everywhere, and he's like, I'm not going to Cincinnati anymore. And that's just, it's kind of what we talk about sometimes.
Crazy shit that happens after. Did you see? Okay, not a Steelers game. After the Monday night game, Chargers Chiefs. Somebody threw a guy off a bridge.
Yep.
That's attempted fucking murder.
Yeah.
That happens. I mean, it happens everywhere, and it's a fucking shame, man. But
It
yeah,
is
it's just
It
ridiculous.
is. It's fucking stupid.
people get like way too fucking involved. It's just like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah. I want to talk about a couple other things real quick. The Steelers did re-sign. I say re-sign because he was with them earlier in the year. Master Teague,
Great name.
one of the great names in
Master
football
Teague
history.
the third.
Yeah, Master Teague the third.
Third.
Sounds like
That's the
was.
third generation of great names.
It's like
right
he was
there.
the fourth member of Run DMC or something.
Exactly.
Anyway, and so I tend to think that's probably not good news for Jaylen Warren.
At the very least, there are doubts about him being able to participate this week.
Right. And so I think that, bears watching there. And
But we don't get an injury report until tomorrow because it's a Monday game.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And so we'll get that tomorrow. And the Hall of Fame stuff, we have a couple of semifinalists, Hines Ward and James Harrison. I think we are largely in agreement. If you've listened to this show for a long time, we've mentioned this before. We all love Hines Ward, but we don't think he's going to get in.
You're just a hater, Mark.
And yes, I am.
You're
yes.
just a hater.
The Hines Ward jersey that is over my chair every single week when I do this show means I'm a hater.
You are a hater.
But I don't know. I think Harrison might have a better chance as of right now. And I'll let you guys decide that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get in this year, but I think he's going
to. Oh, no, I'm not suggesting either get in this year.
oh my God.
But, Scarps is pissed off.
Go ahead, Scarps. What do you think?
Is this the Hall of Fame, or is this the Hall of Great/Good? I mean, fuck.
I think that ship sailed, Ryan. I think it's the Hall of Good for a while now.
Then
I disagree with you. I disagree completely.
Then fine.
They still only let 5 guys in per year.
Okay.
The thing that I where it becomes the Hall of Good is where you get the old timers guys that they bring in. Okay. And the contributors where they add the fucking Jerry Joneses of the world. How the fuck is Jerry Jones an NFL Hall of Famer? That's fucking bullshit.
He paid his way for it.
All right.
So I introduced the league and how to make more money.
Right. That's exactly why he got it.
I was really good at marketing.
Exactly.
So
I was also good at impregnating women who were my wife.
I might have got a little fucked up one night and did some dumb stuff.
Several nights.
Back to action. Okay. So here's my thing. I do think Hines should be in. So that being said, I think Hines should be in.
Right.
This is no disrespect.
As a football player.
This is no disrespect to James Harrison by any means. Okay. Because and Ben, you've talked about this, any player that was like dominant or the top at their position for 5 years and like running deserves it. But like we fall in love with that James Harrison story that he was cut 1,000 times, that Joey Porter fucking fighting William Green before Cleveland Browns game is what got James's chance. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Defensive player of the year.
He was a defensive player of the year, but he's
Steelers freak.
But he doesn't even have. James Harrison isn't even the top guy up for eligibility.
No,
yes,
he's not.
And we fall in love with the 100-yard pick 6 of the Super Bowl. I totally get it.
One of the greats of all time.
I totally get it. But like, just because you're dominant,
my measurement is, and somebody talked about this before. If you're that guy, if you were that player that had to be accounted for at every play, you had to know where that guy was on every snap for a significant period of time, not a year, but a stretch of time. You had to know where that guy was and account for him every single play. Then you deserve to get in. Okay. If you weren't that guy, then no, you don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Ian?
I think a lot of it to me comes down to a numbers game that
that's what it is. And it sucks.
Look at the other semifinalists. So I'll go one by one, but like Harrison as an edge rusher, right? You've got Dwight Freeney, who deserves to be in more than Harrison does.
I
and
disagree.
Jared Allen, who deserves to be in more than Harrison does. You've got
Again, I disagree.
DeMarcus
Harrison
Ware.
never even led the league.
I'm going to have
All right.
Ian finish here, and then we'll go back to the disagreements. Go
All
ahead,
right.
Ian.
Yeah,
You've-
sorry.
All right, you've got DeMarcus Ware, who's probably better than Harrison, and Robert Mathis, who is not better than Harrison.
No.
So it's, if you look at like total career sacks, all four of those other guys are ahead of Harrison in total sacks.
Okay.
Harrison was defensive player of the year. None of those other guys were.
Yep.
But Ware and Allen were 4-time All Pros. Freeney was 3, Harrison was 2. Pro Bowls, Ware had 9, Freeney had 7, Allen and Harrison and Mathis all had 5. Ware and Freeney were both on the Hall of Fame's 2000s All-Decade team, which probably carries a little bit of weight, like in the, they were on the Hall of Fame's All-Decade teams. Maybe they get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So there's that too, but the thing I think we have to remember is like the people that vote on this are writers, and
Right.
So there's that too of like there's the politicking behind it, which was something I was thinking about, because objectively, and I'm going to throw this on a tangent here, but objectively, will Antonio Brown get into the Hall of Fame? Because
Yes.
objectively, based on his stats, Ben is probably right. Yes, he deserves to be in.
He'll
But
get in. Will he
who's
get in
gonna-
first year?
who is
Will
going
he
to
get in
advocate
first
for him?
year?
What
No one.
what writer is
No
going to go
one
into
is
that
going to
room
advocate for
and
him.
advocate for him? So how does
Nobody.
he get in
And
there?
we
right?
talked about this
He
on the
has-
show. T.O.'s
yeah.
stats are so much better than AB's.
Right.
And T.O. had to wait for years to get in.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And
especially
T.O. was deserving year one. And why did he get snubbed for 2 more years? Why? Because he was an asshole to the press.
Okay, but AB is 100 times the asshole as Terrell
Yeah.
Owens,
Exactly.
and AB continues to do it.
Exactly.
Right.
So AB will get in eventually.
I
Will
don't
he get
know.
in year one?
That- and-
Will
and
he
that's-
get in
Are
year
we gonna
one like he
forget James
deserves?
Harrison posing
No.
on the cover
Okay.
of Men's Health
Oh,
with
yeah,
Ryan
baby.
Dunn
Ryan,
talking
You know what,
about
though?
that's
They-
exactly where I
I
wanted
don't
to go.
James
get that
Harrison-
shit.
James Harrison gave them some awesome quotes, though, didn't he?
But you know what? He was also the face of Roger Goodell's war on the whole concussion
fun.
issue and all that shit. And I think that
Roger Goodell's war on football.
literally, and
Sorry.
I think that's going to play against him.
Okay, here's my thing. Okay, Ian's right. The voters are strictly going to look at edge players. How many sacks did he have? Because that's the fucking silo they look down. They're like, how many sacks did he have? That's
It is.
I mean,
They're
they'll,
not
they'll
taking
look
into-
at they'll
they're
look
not
at
taking
Hall of-
into-
or Pro Bowls and all.
They're
pros
not
and stuff
taking
like
into
that, too.
consideration the way that Steelers linebackers are deployed. Okay, they are not deployed like a typical edge. And they certainly were not then. It was even more dramatic then than it is now.
Correct.
Okay, they had fewer rushing attempts. They had more snaps in coverage. They were expected to set the edge. Most of the edge players, Dwight Freeney, you think he ever set the fucking edge? He didn't give a shit. He played the run on the way to the quarterback. If he played it at all, which is why I don't think that he's more deserving. I do not. I don't think any of those guys are more deserving, personally, than James Harrison. Do I think James Harrison will get in this year? No, I do not.
No.
I do not. He won't get enough votes because the voters look strictly at sack numbers. And
I agree
That's-
100%.
You're
the
not
way
wrong.
it is, it's just like Hines, Hines was a great football player, and he
Mhm.
should get in as a football player. But when you look at him through the silo of a wide receiver, and you go, well, Hines was never looked at as really like the most dominant wide receiver ever in the league. And, he was never the best player in his position ever, even one year.
Mhm.
How can we make him a Hall of Famer? Well, because he wasn't just a wide receiver. He contributed in other ways that most wide receivers don't.
That Super Bowl 40 MVP don't look bad.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think it was Kabali today that tweeted
Andre fucking Reed?
Andre
You've got to be
Reed.
kidding me. Andre Reed was drafted in 1985. That's a
Right.
dumb fucking comparison. It was stupid.
very different.
Kabbalah, you're a fucking idiot.
So I think too.
Kabali's good people, man.
It's still a dumb comparison, dude.
Right.
I don't give a shit. It's a
Be-
dumb fucking comparison.
Because he's basing it off of what we talked about, the
Because
numbers.
he's basing it upon the fact that he lives in McKees Rocks, and that's where he.
No,
why he
McKees
fucking
He does
thinks
not
that
live
way.
in
McKees
McKees
Port.
Rocks. He lives in McKeesport.
Okay, whatever.
No.
I'd like to-
They're very different
Hold
towns.
on a
Maybe-
second. Do I
yeah, hold on.
talk about fucking Portland? Okay. Am I fucking putting a pin on your Dunkin' Donuts over there? Relax. What the fuck? Or your fucking Starbucks, whatever. Holy fuck. The McKees Rocks is not the same as McKeesport. You don't want to be in either spot after hours, but I'm just telling you there's a fucking difference.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Fun
I
fact:
was
Fun
just being a
fact.
dick.
McKeesport and McKees Rocks were named for two different unrelated guys named McKee. One was John McKee, and one was Alexander McKee.
I
So-
thought they were McKees, not McKee.
No,
Holy shit.
Not to
okay.
be confused with McD's nuts.
Oh,
I'm thankful for all our listeners.
More
so-
Alicia Keys.
Hey, who do we play this week?
fuck it.
We have the Colts
Ian,
this
I love
week
you.
on
Wait,
Monday
wait.
Night
That was
Football,
great.
everybody.
Wait, I have one closing point though. That
Yeah.
similar to Harrison, who I think is behind other guys at his position, Hines Ward is also behind a bunch of guys at his
Oh, yeah.
position, right?
know.
I mean, you've got Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Reggie Wayne, and probably Steve Smith, who were all semifinalists this year that are probably all ahead of Hines. I think a fun debate could be like Hines versus Anquan Bolden. Like I saw Anquan Bolden on the list. I'm like, he was good, but like he was never the best receiver on his team. Like, why the
Exactly.
fuck is this guy on the list?
He
Like,
had that one amazing stretch with Flacco, to
Yeah,
get to
but,
the Super
like-
Bowl.
He had better seasons in Arizona, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I agree.
I'd vote both Bolden and Ward in. I think they were that good. I think that they were fucking football.
They were really good
players.
football players.
they were,
weren't they?
yeah,
Mhm.
they were.
All my respect, both those guys. Jesus.
Yeah, I would like to get. We'll talk a little bit more
I
about the
would
Colts
like
here,
to
but I
get-
do want to get Casey Kasem warmed up in the bullpen, just so he knows.
You wrote something.
Holy shit, that was like a novel.
It's shorter than it has been over the past couple weeks.
I
Take
as
that
far
for what it's worth.
I don't know. Last week was pretty goddamn good.
it was pretty
so-
good. You're gonna have a hard time topping last week, man.
Well, we'll see. So
We'll see. We do have the Colts. We are going to be in Indianapolis on Monday Night Football.
Monday night
Um,
against Jeff Saturday. Okay.
Monday night against Jeff Saturday. Ian, what was your thought on the hiring of high school coach Jeff Saturday?
I didn't like it at first, but I mean, I like Saturday's attitude. I'll say that. That like, he came in and he was like, look, this is an 8-game tryout for me. Maybe I'll suck. Maybe I'll be awful. Maybe I'll never do this again. Maybe I'll be good. I don't know. We'll see. But he's a football player's kind of coach, right? Like I'm sure the players in the locker room love him.
Foosball is the devil.
Right. That like, I'm sure he can speak to the players and do all that. Like, I'm sure he can get the guys, revved up for the game. And like the guys in the locker room love him. It's just that, can he do everything else you need to do to be a head coach? Because there's more to being a head coach than just getting the guys in the locker room to like you. Right.
Right.
Like,
right.
I liken it to being this might be a bad analogy, but I'm gonna make it anyways. I liken it to being a police chief.
Oh, you fucking asshole. I'd like to introduce everyone to my brother-in-law, Brian,
How we doing?
big-time Packer fan.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Go off this little number right
Yeah,
here.
I have-
That's my-
Yeah, double guns, guys. Thank you. He's
that was
bringing
a
me
fun
more
night.
cider.
Hey, how the Packers doing this year there, Brian?
Packers by,
They
How
wanna
the-
know
how the
they
Packers
want-
doing
They
this
want to know
year?
how the Packers are doing this year.
not well. That's why I got Packers by 21 this weekend. We're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They signed any
So-
wide receivers this week?
All right. Final thought on Jeff Saturday. Right. Like,
I'm sorry. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
liken it to being a police chief, right? Like being a good street cop doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a good police chief, right? Because there's more that goes into being an administrator of a police department than just being a good street cop.
Yeah.
So being a head coach of a football team, kind of similarly, there's a lot more that goes into it than just like being good in the locker room with the players. So I think Jeff Saturday was a very good quote unquote street cop, right? He was a very good player. He can do well in the locker room with the guys and can motivate them to play. Can he do all the other administrative things that go into being a head coach? I don't know. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. We'll find out. But
Oops, sorry.
The Colts have definitely gone with a different offensive philosophy. They're running the ball a lot more with Saturday as head coach. They're giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor. They put Matt Ryan back in at quarterback. So so we'll see. But the Steelers have always done well on Monday night. They've always done well in Indianapolis, but this is not the Ben Roethlisberger Steelers that always showed up in primetime either. So, we'll see what happens. But the interesting thing is that the last couple of weeks, even though we played against Alvin Kamara and Joe Mixon, those teams realized we're so fucking bad at defending the pass. They didn't even try and run the ball against us, maybe to their detriment. But like the Saints and Bengals didn't try and run the ball all that much. So the Colts are going to run the ball, and we'll see. The Colts,
passing the ball was working so fucking well. Why wouldn't you just throw it?
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, yeah, that's true. But the Colts don't have any receivers as good as what the Bengals have.
The Bengals,
drink
just a hair more, Ian.
Just a hair more.
Just drink a little bit more.
The Colts don't have any receivers like the Bungles do, but they got a pretty good running back there. Although he fumbles the ball sometimes, so we'll see what happens.
Let me go ahead and get. We're going to do two predictions tonight. The first one, yep. I was hoping we'd have a certain someone else here with us because it would make it more fun.
Fuck Ellie.
I don't know where Ellie is.
Ellie was really pissed at me that I compared England to the Cowboys on Twitter, but it's fucking true. England is absolutely the Cowboys.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Undefended comment. I love
Scarbs,
that.
give me your prediction for Monday Night Football in Indianapolis, Indiana.
So a quick thing. I don't have a problem with the Saturday hire because I think Jim Irsay was looking for a way to not only save his organization and franchise, but the locker room. And I think he wanted to bring in a familiar face that represented the Colts well, the community well, and was an all-time great center. So that being said, this team to me has some life. It has been rejuvenated. Their offensive line is the highest paid offensive line in the league. I know we have the highest paid defense in the league, but what the fuck does that matter? Oh boy, the Steelers have been much better against the run over the past couple weeks. But I do think that the Colts are going to try to establish that run game. Their defense is not as bad as people think. So long-winded, I'm going to go with 17-14 Colts in overtime.
Oh, Ben Anderson. Follow that one up.
I've been back and forth in this game. I really don't know what to expect, honestly. I really hate the fact that it's a Monday night game because I really hate Monday night games. Just because you have to sit there through the whole weekend while everybody else gets to open their presents and watch their game, and you have to wait for Monday, which is fucking bullshit. And if you're me, you have to leave work early because the game starts at 5, so you have to make up some bullshit. Although actually, I'm not even. I just told my employees I'm leaving
that's
early.
a shame. Yeah,
I'm just I'm not even making any. I'm just hey, listen, the Steelers are playing. I'm leaving early.
That's because you live in a terrible time zone.
That's right.
Well, whatever. I don't, at least I don't live in a fucking time zone where they play at 8 p.m. Fuckhead. I've been to those games on Monday night in Pittsburgh, and when you show up and you're already drunk because it's 8 o'clock, that makes for a long night. Anyway, point being,
isn't the Pirates AAA team in Indianapolis?
God,
so the 2-1 score makes some sense there.
Really hard to pick this game because I have no faith in the Colts offense. I really don't. And their ability to score points. Their defense isn't bad, it's just not great. But our offense is discombobulated and terrible and doesn't believe in what they're trying to do. So it's like, bet the under, and I'm gonna say Steelers 17, Colts 14.
Wow. All right. So we got one each. Ian?
Yeah, so the Colts are going to try and run the ball a lot. Their offensive line hasn't been as good, but our run defense really hasn't been tested in a few weeks because teams just haven't run the ball.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor's really good when he holds on to the ball, which he's done better in the NFL, the last couple of years, but you never know. I honestly, I don't even know what's the. All right, Indy's a 2.5-point favorite. What's the over/under here in this game?
Colts are favored, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Colts,
That's embarrassing.
Gotta be low 40s, isn't it?
Yeah, Colts
That's
are
fucking embarrassing that the Colts are
Is it?
favored in this game. Yes.
Colts are 2.5
better
point
record.
At
favorites.
home, it's 2.5.
Home, better record.
The over/under's 39. So
That should be a
wow.
pick 'em.
yeah,
Vegas knows
I'm
something.
gonna go Steelers 20, Colts 16.
Wow. Vegas is trying to make people put money on the Colts.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to keep this really, really simple.
I think I'll expand. I'll let you think, Mark. I think we found something on offense that we're capable of finding the end zone more than once per game now. So maybe twice we could do that.
If Chris Boswell was healthy, I would say we're going to win this game walking away.
I was just going to say.
By 3 field
but
goals.
it's in a dome. And so we'll see how,
Mr.
Actually,
Wrong.
Boswell in a dome has been weirdly inaccurate sometimes. So
And Matthew Wright bounced back very well Sunday
after
after that abomination the week before.
Yeah.
He was perfect on all his kicks.
I'm 20-16 Steelers.
Okay. I think Matty Ryan, I thought he was going to have a better year than he's had.
The betting lines are really shitty on this game.
I think the Steelers will turn him over. I really thought all week about taking the Colts, but I think I'm going to take the Steelers. I think I'm going to go 24-17 Steelers. I
24 points.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Ian. Hey, we found a little something last week. Maybe it's going to keep going.
Steel Dad says bet the over.
Yeah, yes, bet the over, baby.
Nah.
And of course, on Friday, which is Black Friday for all you shoppers out there, the United States of America will be playing England in the World Cup of Soccer. And we were hoping to have Miss Ellie Finnerty on here tonight because we were going to talk some serious shit. But I don't know what's happened to her. She must have gotten delayed at work or something. But in either case,
you guys text her yet or anything?
I haven't heard from her. I hope she's okay. Ryan, you going to be watching this one?
Oh yeah,
and
just like it's 1776 all over again. I almost said 1976.
What time's the game?
For American
2:00.
2:00 Friday.
Yeah,
2:00 Eastern.
Yes.
So 11 o'clock in the good time zone.
No, your time zone's weird.
11 a.m. your time zone.
Yes.
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Who's your favorite founding father, Ryan?
Oh Jesus.
I'm gonna guess and say Alexander
listen,
Hamilton.
whatever I say, don't get me fucking canceled. Franklin was legit. I'm gonna go with John Adams.
All right.
I was gonna go Sam Adams. If you know what I'm saying.
Samuel Jackson, good motherfucking beer. Okay,
but I will. I'd probably go with John Adams.
All right, that's fair.
And score prediction.
Score prediction, Ryan.
England traditionally shits the bed, so I have faith that the United States is going to draw.
Okay.
I'm going to say 1-1, and I fully expect an early England goal, and I'm just pooping myself, and then an equalizer before halftime, and then it's just, I don't want this ball. You can take it for the rest. For the rest.
All right, Ian, what do you got for Friday's action?
Boy, All right, so my favorite founding father is Thomas Paine, who wrote Common Sense. So we'll get that out of the way first.
Thomas Paine was the founding father.
Yeah, he wrote
Oh,
Common
sure.
Sense. It started the whole fucking thing. Okay.
Who's that?
Here's a guy that's got common sense.
Here's
Yeah.
Here's a guy that did
Hey, here's a guy.
musical
Here's a guy that's got common sense.
Yeah, I actually I like the 1-1 prediction. The
guys are
U.S.
probably
the
on
U.S.
crack.
dominated the first half against Wales, and then got boat raced in the second half, and was lucky to hold on that they only gave up 1 to Wales, even though there was ball was probably out of bounds before that penalty happened. But whatever. So yeah, I kind of feel 1-1 is how it's going to go. So I'll echo Ryan's prediction of a 1-1 draw.
Okay,
Although
now,
I'll go the other way. I'll say the U.S. scores in the first half, and then England scores in the second half, and then we just
All right.
hold on and preserve the tie.
All right. And
Or
Ben, I know
draw
you don't
in
pay a ton
soccer
of
one.
attention to this stuff, but what's your prediction?
Don't pay a ton of attention means I pay 0 attention because I don't fucking care.
Here's a guy that does it like the other football.
Who's your favorite founding father, Ben?
John Adams was a pretty good choice, but I'm actually going to go with John Hancock, who basically
Very famous
made
signature.
made the signature famous.
Right.
Thomas Jefferson, honestly. But
Yeah. No.
setting that aside for a minute, I think that these Brits are still pretty angry about not only the Revolutionary War, but the War of 1812, where they got embarrassed again, and several subsequent embarrassments where the U.S. has been like, yeah, hey, we're now the big brother, even though we were the younger brother, and now we're just gonna kick the shit out of you because we outgrew you, kind of a thing. And they're just a scotch more talented than the U.S. I see a 3-1 loss in the U.S.'s future on Friday, and I also see Ryan and Ian texting Ellie during the game and talking some shit, just to talk shit about, I don't know,
Listen,
a player's running around the field with his jersey untucked or something. I don't fucking know.
you know how the Steelers, how Steelers fans talk about the 70s, how great they were.
Yeah.
We're going to throw it back 300 years.
Well,
So
so that's right. Ben kind of stole my thunder a little bit there. I was going to say that, as you know, it's very hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. And the U.S., of course, has got those 2 big victories. And I think England is coming hell-bent for leather. And I
Judas
think
Priest over there.
Judas Priest, very good. I think it's going to be 3-0 England. I think the United States
3-0.
3-0. I think they're going to walk off that field going,
Ass
holy
whipping.
shit, we got a long way to go before we're actually good at soccer.
Speaking of hot garbage, Marcus Rashford is trash.
Who?
I am
Marcus
not
Rashford?
afraid of any of them.
Hey,
fucking
wait.
dudes.
Is he any relation to Abigail Rashford? Because she's smoking hot, trail of fire when she walks.
I don't know that.
I don't believe he
quite
is.
know.
She's a model.
I don't.
You don't
quite
know?
No.
All I know
All
is
right.
David Beckham ain't playing for them, so I ain't scared of nobody. Okay?
Ain't going to bend it. By the way, is Casey Kasem ready?
Yeah, he's ready. That's all right.
Go ahead, Mr. Kasem.
We're like an hour and a half in. Now we're getting to Casey. Holy shit.
Sorry.
Is this good or bad?
It's like
That's
SCB overtime, but part of the regular show. Whatever.
Uh,
The
This is all
3-hour
good.
show was awesome.
Top 40. Let me take one more sip real quick.
Oh, Jesus. Casey's got to get
right, ready?
wizened up.
Yeah. All right, we're doing it live. Okay. Hello, America. And we're here for the week that was November 23rd, 1974. Ryan for Pittsburgh writes, Dear Casey, in the time of chimpanzees, I was a monkey, butane in my veins, and I'm out to cut the junkie with the plastic eyeballs, spray paint the vegetables, dog food stalls with the beefcake pantyhose. Soy un perdedor, I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me? Well, Ryan, let me stop you right there, you unstable bastard. You write me every week, and honestly, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about half the time. You need to seek professional help. Now, let's get back to the rest of your letter. As you know, Casey, those are the lyrics to Loser by Beck. What a fitting song for the Steelers. I've never seen a more fake tough group in my life. Well, maybe the Cleveland Browns. Anyways, it's just bad all around. The highest paid defense in the league can't stop a nosebleed. Samaje Perine had 3 more receiving touchdowns last Sunday than Deontay Johnson has had all season. Sorry, I laughed. To add insult to injury, the guitar player for Quiet Riot had a receiving touchdown last week. Hang on. I'm told that was Trenton Irwin. He's a real NFL player, and he has more TDs this year than the Steelers' #1 wide receiver that's making $18 million a year. I'm also pretty sure he would have no problem doing a cover of Mental Health. Steelers fan, bang your head against the wall many times. Since we're heading towards Mike Tomlin's first losing season, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that I'm thankful for the Steelers since they've been competitive since 2004. That shit is unheard of, Casey, in this league. Yes, this season sucks, but my love for this team will never die. Well, Ryan, thanks again for writing me every week. I still think you need to seek professional help, but we got a real treat for you this week due to your undying love for the Steelers. Up 3 spots this week to number 6 is Everlasting Love by Carl Carlton.
Oh, wow. That was amazing.
Oh,
That was pretty good.
but yeah, the Quiet Riot guy. That was great.
Yeah.
Or the guitar player for Cinderella. You don't know what
I
you
do.
got till it's gone. I'm talking about you, Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh my God. Outstanding, Mr. Kasem. Okay, we'll be back at our regularly scheduled time next week. I hope everybody has a tremendous Thanksgiving. I hope you all gorge yourselves and unbutton your pants and your buttons don't take somebody's eye out or anything like that. But for these guys, this is me signing off on the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.
Go America.